Is it up to Islam at this point? Like, meaning, does the UFC agree with him fighting for the belt in his first fight at 155 now?
I mean, look, let me ask you this question. You've known me now for 20. I've been in this for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Do you really think that we make moves without like trying to like you know me? You know,
Yeah.
I'm trying to like be ahead of it when it's time to do something, and we don't just jump from here to there without like having the conversations and certain things. So no one told us that we couldn't fight for the title.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, no one has said that you're not fighting for the title. So, that I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there out of respect to everybody else on the other side and what they're trying to do or not do. You know what I mean? But nothing has been said. No one's told me, no, this is not happening. Let me just put it to you like that.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay?
Well,
So
I said there's. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
There's no chance Ilia Topuria is vacating his belt without a title fight in his next fight.
Well, I don't know if it even makes sense for them as a promotion to allow him to fight anybody else when he's a champion. And if we're being honest, this is probably the biggest fight you can make right now outside of Bones versus Aspinall.
And there it is. Ilia Topuria's manager, Malki Kawa, just confirmed that Ilia Topuria did not move up to lightweight without confirming first that he will be fighting Islam Makhachev for the lightweight championship, or anybody for the lightweight championship. And this may come as a surprise to you guys, but it will come as a surprise to none of my viewers, as I predicted that in 2 of my recent videos, that Ilia Topuria would not move to lightweight without a guarantee from the UFC first that he would be fighting the championship, or else he wouldn't want to vacate his current championship. It's just common sense at the end of the day. These guys aren't dumb, nor are their managers who have been working with the UFC for years, which is what Malki Kawa is doing. So it's just very obvious that Ilia Topuria will be fighting for the championship. He said earlier in the clip that's not going to be in this video that it is up to Islam Makhachev to accept, that the UFC has said yes, Ilia Topuria said yes, it's just up to Islam Makhachev now. Who knows? Maybe they're waiting for the Bilal Muhammad and JDM fight to happen to see if Islam's going to move up to 170 instead. That's kind of a theory I've been thinking about, because if JDM wins, then Islam won't have to worry about fighting Bilal Muhammad, so Islam can move up to 170. Then Ilia Topuria could still fight for the lightweight championship, whether he fights Arman or Charles for who's going to be the new lightweight champion. But that's just my take on it. So what we're going to do now is look into if we think Ilia Topuria can actually win the lightweight championship, and we're going to be assuming that he's going to fight Islam Makhachev, because as of now, that's who the champion is, and there's been no other news to confirm otherwise yet, besides just a theory that I have going on in my brain. Alright, so we know Ilia Topuria is 16-0, and he has a lot of impressive wins on his record, mainly the Volkanovski title win and then the Max Holloway title defense. However, there is one starring, shining issue when it comes to Ilia Topuria, and it's not any of his skills, it's not any of his fights in the past or experience or anything. It is the stats right here. And not his nickname, not his stance, not his team, not his birthday that helps him that he's younger, but it is that he is 5'7" and 145. And the 145 doesn't matter. His manager said he walks around at 187. Everybody knows all the fighters walk around at a higher weight than their weight class. That's a different rant for a different time, and trust me, that is coming. By the way, subscribe if you want high quality UFC content multiple times a week. You know where to find it. But it is the fact that he is much smaller than Islam Makhachev. And everyone's like, oh no, Ilia's big for 145. Like, he walks around above 145. He'll be fine at 155. Yeah, every fighter in the world walks around at a weight higher than their weight class. So you being bigger than 145 is not a valid reason. If we look at Islam Makhachev, he is 5'10". That is 3 to 4 inches taller than Ilia Topuria. And Islam Makhachev has been said to walk around 200 pounds. And someone like Max Holloway, who's 5'10", the same height as Islam Makhachev, is actually a big featherweight who moving up to lightweight is not going to deal with a size or as much of a strength disadvantage. You know, it takes a little bit of time for them to bulk up into their weight class. But fighting Ilia Topuria, who is already not big for his weight class. He's 5'6", 5'7", and Islam Makhachev is big for his weight class, which is a weight class above Ilia Topuria. When Ilia Topuria actually makes that move up to lightweight, I think it's going to be a really big problem when he gets in there against a big lightweight who's talked about moving up to welterweight in Islam Makhachev. And then when you add on top of that, Islam Makhachev is arguably the greatest fighter of all time. I see problems for Ilia Topuria when we're thinking about him winning the championship. And you're lying if you're saying that this isn't a factor. You just are. Everyone's like, oh, Ilia Topuria has a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background and he has this power. Well, you know who else has that? It's Charles Oliveira. And I don't want to hear people being like, oh, Ilia's better than Charles. He might be better than Charles in other areas, And when you add the fighters up as a total, he very well might be a better fighter than Charles Oliveira, although it's up for debate. But Charles Oliveira is a bigger fighter than Ilia Topuria, with more experience, and he is better at jiu-jitsu, and that is factual. Charles Oliveira has the most submission wins in UFC history, and that is just a very clear metric where we could say this guy's probably better at jiu-jitsu than Ilia Topuria, and he's much bigger. And he got submitted by Islam Makhachev. He didn't get knocked out on the feet. Charles Oliveira, the best Brazilian jiu-jitsu UFC artist of all time, got submitted by Islam Makhachev, who has only gotten better in these past 3 years since he beat Charles, and stronger and more experience. And we think that Ilia Topuria is going to do fine with Islam Makhachev because he has good jiu-jitsu. Islam already proved that that's not a factor in their fights. He just jumped guard on Charles Oliveira and submitted him very easily. And then when you look that Ilia Topuria is 3 to 4 inches shorter than Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev, it's just going to make grappling and wrestling for Islam Makhachev that much easier in the match. And I'm not going to deny there is a real possibility that Ilia catches him with those hooks and he knocks Islam Makhachev out, but I'm banking on the fact that Islam Makhachev, the seasoned veteran he is, reigning champion for 3 years, is not going to get caught like that. He very well could get caught like that, but I believe that Islam Makhachev will bring this fight to the ground and will end up submitting Ilia Topuria or winning by decision over Ilia Topuria, and it's due to this height and strength advantage as well as being a better grappler. And I'm as big of a Topuria's fan as anyone. I think this guy's the next superstar, can be the next Conor McGregor, but I think moving up right now to fight Islam Makhachev is not your best idea. Against someone like Arman or Charles, you have a much better idea, which is why as Islam goes to 170, this looks pretty good for Ilia Topuria, to be honest. And I get that it is a super fight between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria. I do want to see that fight, don't get me wrong. I want to see it. Everybody wants to see it. But we have to be honest with ourselves. Everybody is hyping up Ilia Topuria, but we're forgetting how good Makhachev is. This is a guy who everyone's already saying is better than Khabib. Do we think Ilia Topuria beats Khabib? Honestly, he might. I think he has a better shot at beating Khabib than he does Islam Makhachev. But to think that Ilia Topuria is just... he's going to beat Islam Makhachev like every Instagram Reels edit of all time is showing in the past month since this has been discussed. It's just ridiculous behavior, and it's honestly a casual take. But as always, those are just my opinions on the subject. I'm not an MMA fighter. I'm not a UFC fighter, so I could be very wrong in every sense of it. You guys let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.